Okay, hey, so we got a question in the mastermind. This is about building community. It says, how do you set boundaries in your Discord for weirdos and time vampires that want all your attention? I used to have never any amount of people that want help with things in game. It's extremely draining, so I was glad I eventually left the Discord server that was causing it. In my personal Discord, I used to promote it, but got weirdos that are too parasocial, so I ghosted my own Discord and burned links to it. I want to reopen this, though, to connect with some more people, have good relationships, and really want to avoid those two types of people the most. Okay, so I'm going to talk about community building, and I'm going to talk about how you ought to think as a community builder. People that know me obviously know I have a bit of experience with this. Particularly, I think in a Discord that has since become centered on mostly like informative and educative like type stuff. I can talk about this quite a bit. And I'm going to give you like the really big delivery right now, like just the thing that I think you need to think about, or everyone needs to think about when you're building communities. And there's a whole nother conversation, right? That's like, should I build a community? That's something that I think more people should think about, where I don't think that for the vast majority of products and services that you need a community, actually. That I used to think that, and I think this is a Gary Vee thing, that like people that watch a lot of like Gary Vee or the sort of the marketing zeitgeist right now is we need to build these communities and we have to have people like love our product and love our team and understand it and interact with it in order to sell it. But that's not true. Like you don't need that. You just need a good sales proposition and a good product, right? Like you can like pay-per-click advertising can directly fill up a $100 million business, no problem, right? There's not necessarily a hard, fast need to have a community. So you ought to ask yourself if you should build a community for what you're doing, first of all. But if you decide on building a community, that's what this video is for. And the one thing is you are one person, right? And there's a difference between what I would call micro creation and macro creation. And I had to learn this over a lot of period of time. Micro creation, I would define as, like, for example, responding to a single post in a Discord, okay? So there's going to be that person who sees it and benefits. There's going to be a few people around that are lurking. Always remember there's, like, more people that are reading things than there are people that are responding. In fact, like, the vast majority, like, only 5% are typing, and, like, a lot of people are also are like reading. So that's actually something to keep in mind for something later. And then macro creation is something you create that feasibly will go to most people. Okay. So if you are in your Discord interacting with people and you are one-to-one responding to them, you are micro creating, where you could make a video about that subject and then you could post it in your announcement section and then everybody could benefit from it. But there's another important part of that idea that I think encompasses the sort of feel that you want as a community builder, which is that as a community builder, your community can infinitely scale, but you can't scale because you are one person with 24 hours of time. So how do you create the idea that you are always around and that you're creating things, but you don't have that sort of like one-to-one personal interaction? The answer is you create a sense of macro creation at all times. And you directly interact with people at different tiers, depending on how they interact with you, and really how they pay you, honestly. So using my personal Discord as a example, I do not interact with general chat. You'll see that it's actually a chat that I have blurred out. So, it will be very rare that I interact with general chat. If I do interact with general chat, which is just the chat where everybody is, it is because I am directly posting something that I know everyone else in the Discord will want to see to set the tone. I interact with Mastermind chat almost one-to-one because everybody there pays to be there and is there to learn. So I'm always trying to interact with that chat. And I interact with supporter chat casually. And then I also have themed chats. So like Path of Exile, you'll see that I just posted here even just a couple of minutes ago, right? Just like talking about Path of Exile, League of Legends, I'll post here. Here's me like posting something here, right? So I will interact with chats that are either very theme specific, where I can keep the topic a certain way, and I know people like won't judge me for being like the owner of the server, or I'll interact with like supporter chat or mastermind chat. This is like my intention to like answer questions here, and I'll do this as direct as possible. So in this, not responding to general chat is a really important concept that like there's a concept in marketing called what is greater than zero. And I used to be a big believer in this. It's funny how so much has changed. Uh, 1 is greater than 0 basically means that if you respond and you make a single impression on a person, that is better than not making that impression. So, for example, with 1 is greater than 0, you would respond to every Twitter comment that you get. You would respond to every Reddit comment that you get. You would respond to every YouTube comment that you get, because interacting directly with that person builds rapport with that person and makes it so that that person is more connected to you in theory. So that seems like a pretty logical concept, right? The reality is, though, that, and this is what I thought, right? Because 1 is greater than 0 is a big core concept of Gary Vee's marketing. It's a big core concept. But again, the zeitgeist of marketing today is community interaction. But as I advance through business and I'm building businesses at a top level, I don't think that community interaction is as important as people think it is. And I'm actually diverging from that opinion. Now, I don't want to like contest like the monsters that are in this like this philosophy, but I really do believe this, and I'm going to kind of explain why. So yes, spending your time doing 1 is greater than 0 is going to build individual rapport. But if you focus on macro creation, if you're making videos, if you're making posts, if you're making advertisements, if you're making things that can reach a large amount of people, and you're making them on platforms that are designed to reach a large amount of people, so like YouTube or like LinkedIn, where you will automatically reach out to these people, or TikTok through these algorithms, right? I think that is better than 1 is greater than 0. I would rather spend my time creating a video like this, whereas I could have gone into mastermind chat and I could have responded directly with a couple of bullet point answers, and in 3 minutes I could have solved this problem for this person. Or I could make a video about community building that goes to my entire Patreon of 300 people, right? And might at some point go to a YouTube or just be content that is generally available for consumption, that could be made an article of, that there's all kinds of things we could do with this, okay? So the literal existence of this video is an example of macro versus micro creation. And an example of my belief. I literally just did it. I don't believe that in 1 is greater than 0, could I build individual rapport with Colin if I answered him directly? Yes. But let me ask you, will he feel that individual rapport knowing that I made a video of his question? Absolutely he will, right? Probably feel more. And that same rapport will be for everybody in Mastermind Chat, because they will know that I am directly reading this and I'm answering questions from it. And I'm answering them in a way that's far more comprehensive than just a post. So, but at the same time, I'm also following my rule of macro creation, and I'm reaching out. So you see, I'm getting that rapport, but I'm also building I'm also building the sense that I am here to answer widespread macro questions and address them in turn. And that is something that and that I'm not here as much to be a micro content creator. I'm not here to reply to messages that you'll probably forget a post in 2 seconds, where it scrolls by and somebody else is on something else. Whereas with a video, you can go back to it again and again and again. You can look at community building. Okay. So I think that if you follow these rules, I have learned that a lot of very small community builders, they put a lot of attention, especially initially, on responding to like everything. Particularly like small broadcasters or YouTubers, when they get YouTube comments, will respond to every YouTube comment, or respond to every Twitter comment. I think this makes people look weak. I think it doesn't make them look strong. I think it's not a strong thing to respond to everything. It's a strong thing to focus on your mission as to why you are creating that community in the first place, and publish things at a high level for those people to consume that are your best quality stuff. And if you do respond to somebody, it should be in the line of that philosophy. So if you look at the total amount of influx that I get, which is like hundreds of Twitter comments, hundreds of YouTube comments, you can go back through my last 10 YouTube videos, and I may have responded to 1 or 2 comments, maybe. I think it would probably be 0. It might be if it's someone like a high-end streamer or someone that I feel like I should respond to, like Zizaran or someone in the comments or something, that I might do it, even then, right? And the reason I don't respond to those comments is usually because I don't read them, right? And I don't read them because, and this is another 1 is greater than 0 concept in community building, I don't believe that the mental energy that I need to put forth to interpreting and dealing with someone else's opinion is worth the effort, whereas I could be creating something that is more impactful with my own time and my own creativity and my own energy. For example, I have received a enormous amount of lashback for my NFT videos and my cryptocurrency videos. So, and it's so funny, right, that I'm not selling anything. I'm not selling any NFT. I'm not selling any kind of cryptocurrency or anything. Nobody, even in my Patreon, has any idea of what the projects are, right? I'm just talking about the concept of them. But this offends people so much that I've gotten hundreds of hate comments. I mean, like to the degree that I don't think I've gotten since I've been on Twitch a long time ago. Just hundreds of hate comments. And I mean like hate comments, right? Like real hate, right? Like real, like legit hate. People unsubbing that have said they've been subbed for years, all that BS, right? And by the way, this is for community builders. This is always when I know I'm going the right direction. Is when I'm starting these conversations with people and I'm getting this kind of controversy. It's a good thing. It means that like I'm shaking some things. It's good. So anyway, I bring that up because I don't read those comments. I have no idea what the comments are on my NFT video. And I wouldn't in my darkest hour go and make myself feel bad by reading them. I'm sure they're very negative, but I don't have time for that. And you shouldn't either as a community builder. You should be focusing on macro creation. You should be focusing on something that will produce something that could address like your community and build it better. So for example, with the NFT thing, I could go in there and battle every individual comment. And I actually had this experience in my Discord where many, many people came in and started trying to fight me on it. I would go into like the cryptocurrency chat. I would go into the chats and I would go back and forth with people on the NFT cryptocurrency thing. And I was like, you know what? Like it eventually inspired my video that was why bother with cryptocurrency that addressed a lot of these concerns. I went from micro to macro. I realized I needed to do that. And you'll get stuck in this microcosm literally where you'll be posting back and forth. You need to like elevate yourself out of that. Go up and say, I'm doing it again. I'm responding to people individually. I need to go make a video about this. And so like I could do something like I could take all of the concerns of people's cryptocurrency concerns and I could put them into an article and I could address them, right? That's what I basically did in the Why Bother video. I could put I like restreaming, right? Was another one where like I always have people come in and say, why bother restreaming? It dilutes your audience. Just a ton of bullshit that we just know factually is not true, right? This is objectively not true. Like if you are not restreaming in this day and age, you are crazy. You're just a literal crazy person. You are actually objectively wrong. And like I know this. Like I know this. Like we have so much data, right? So do I go address that person individually and like address that person, or do I actually make a video about it, right? Like TikTok Live, best place to stream, unequivocally. There's no question, right? It is so much better than any other platform right now. There's no question. Do I individually address that in like the general chat when people are asking, or do I go make a video that's called the absolute best place to stream 2022, right? Which one's going to do better? Which one's going to reach more people? So now you're thinking like community builder. You should get so then just some simple stuff before we end because it's already been a little bit long, but like you should get your community by tiers. It is totally okay for every community builder to have a Patreon. I think they should. I think moreover, their Patreon should weave into their content. I think you should strive to make that Patreon a lot better. I am currently thinking of 2 ways that I will improve this Patreon that I'm really excited about, that I kind of like finally come around. And I think you can gate your time behind monthly subscriptions. I think it's perfectly reasonable. If your community likes what you do, they will support you, right? And if they don't like what you do, they won't support you. But you should still create, even if you're creating for 2 or 3 people, you're creating a library of backlog stuff. Like I originally built this Patreon and was going to do all these videos, and I have no idea how many people watch these videos. I really don't. Like I have no idea how many people are going to watch this. I don't care. It might be like 20, 50 people, but I create it because I want the practice of creating it. I know it's valuable. I want it to exist in the world, right? You should be the same way. And then those people that have paid you something, right, are really telling you with that money, hey, I find value in your stuff. Keep doing it. That's really important. And those are the people you should engage with as much as possible. So that is why like you'll see me in supporter chat all the time, right? Because supporter chat requires $5 to get in. So and it's not because I want the money. It's because I want to engage with that level of person. Typically, but let's say that, just to answer this last question here, let's say that you do all that and you have a person in like your highest tier that is supporting you financially, but is super parasocial and is like requiring a lot of your time. What do you do? That's probably something that nobody wants to talk about because it's really uncomfortable. Okay, I will tell you what to do. And this is going to be like kind of rough. Okay, you should have a direct one-to-one conversation with that person, and be like, hey, this is taking too much of my time. I respect that you want to financially support me. Thank you. But I have to focus on the bigger picture for me. And I'm going to like just like block you, kick you out, whatever it takes, right? I will usually, and this is if you talk to my CLs and the people in my community, ask them if they know what a vibe ban is, because a vibe ban is a really interesting concept that not enough community leaders actually use, and I think every community leader should do vibe bans. A vibe ban is so bans are obvious, right? If somebody comes in, spams the N word, you ban them, you're done. Okay, no problem. But what's a vibe ban? A vibe ban is if you don't feel like a person is a fit for your community for any reason, you ban them. So if a person comes in to my chat and starts talking a lot, and it's pretty clear they have some mental health issues, and like, look, this isn't easy to talk about. It's going to be a tough conversation, so bear with me. Looks like they have some mental health issues. They're typing like paragraphs of stuff, and they're kind of like bringing the whole mood down, and you can feel that vibe lower. You ban them, and they might not do anything wrong. They don't break any of your rules, but you ban them, and you could tell them why you ban them. Often I don't, because to aggravate those people could create a situation where that person tilts off and is like making 5, 6, 10 accounts and bothering you for months at a time. So man, I've actually never had this conversation before, but like this is actually a real part of community building, so I'm glad we're getting to this. And I'll actually point to this part of the video because I think a lot of people are very afraid to do this. If you see a person who has very clear mental health issues, you should, in my opinion, right, you should not engage with that person. You should ban them quietly and move on, and don't engage and instruct your CLs and mods to not mess with that. Why? Because typically, there's been a few times in my broadcasting career where those types of people who like really attached to a person have come to me, and if you personally give that person, like, let's say you one-on-one DM them and say, hey man, really appreciate you coming into my community, just don't feel like you're a fit, I'm gonna ban you. Right, you may actually trigger that person to then like obsess over you and be there 24/7. And then you may be tempted to like save that person, but you can't save drowning victims because they will pull you under. So the harsh truth is, you ban that person quietly and they go away, and they will go look for, because what they're looking for at their core is they're looking for that attention. So I will always ban like a true vampire. I will get rid of that person. And I will not engage. I will never, ever engage with that person. If they create another account, they come back on, ban again, right? Because you do not want to create that arch nemesis. Now, if I think a person doesn't have mental health issues and they're cool, but they're just negative and they're kind of just like bringing down the vibe, then I'll usually message them or like I'll have a mod will, and we'll just say, hey, like, you're not a fit for this community. Really appreciate you. Sorry, gonna let you go. And that's okay to do, right? It's your community. Like, here's the thing. I think this is the real conversation that Colin needed, because like he burned his own Discord because he was like, man, this like community, like, I'm just not feeling it. And that means that he let a lot of these types of people survive, because there's a lot of people that are really negative that know how to not break the rules. And they're not going to do things that like you will make you feel like you should ban them, but you should, right? Like, if you ever get that feeling like, man, I can't stand this guy, like, this person should not be in my community, you ban them. Does not matter if they have and just like you could like to address this, like, you could just announce it. You could just literally be like in your rules, hey, we do vibe bans, which means like, if like, you could maybe not do anything wrong, but if I'm not feeling you and like this is just not a thing, like, that's it. I'm like, you're out, and that's it, and there's no appeal process. It's over. Thanks, right? And you could ban whoever you want. You're the community leader, right? So at the core, you should build a community that you are proud of being a part of. Unfortunately for me, I have like I say that, but like, I have actually personally failed in this way in my general chat, in that I am not comfortable interacting in my general chat anymore. Every time I do, I go in and I just have negative people that burn me down. I do not know how to solve this problem. A lot of them are years and years of like community members. So I occasionally post an announcement that just brings people back into line. You can probably see. I think a few up, right? Just tired where people attack me for my videos that I defend them. The hell happens in this chat. 98% of the discussion is productive. 2% of you know who you are, been a while, and just do shortcomings, right? So I occasionally post a thing that's like, hey, I'm going to start aggressively banning for people that are doing this. If you are like, and that fixed the problem, right? Like this actually addressed the problem, got a lot of responses, things like that. So you can communicate with your community that things are getting a little bit too hot and burn it in. But still, I don't feel very comfortable interacting with that general chat. But I don't feel like I should. I don't feel like I need to feel comfortable with it. So I haven't fixed the problem. So I would much rather just stay in the supporter chat. I'd much rather stay in the mastermind chat where I can add value and then focus on that concept of macro creation that I was telling you guys about before. Okay, but that's like the really hard conversation you might have to have. You will have to have as a community leader. Every one of you will get those like really intense parasocial. Unfortunately, there are a lot of people, especially that like attract themselves to Discord communities, and particularly in live streaming. I think more than any other place, there are a lot of people who have mental health issues, are looking for some kind of validation through like a figure that can support that. In my experience, you do not want to get involved in that at all. And at the very least, be like, hey, like you can provide therapy resources, right? Like we often do through our community, where somebody might come in, they might be suicidal, they might be like really on edge or depressed. We immediately point them to RAD, right? And we say, hey, here's like a form you can fill out right away. Get in contact with therapists, like they can help you out. This community, so that's a good response, right? You can say this community doesn't support this kind of thing. We can't do this here. But here's a person that can help. Good luck. And then you send them a ban and you give them the message, right? But do not be Atlas and put that weight on your shoulders where you have to solve everybody else's like problems. And just in general, I think just start thinking about macro creation much more than micro creation when you're community building, because you can like this can take hours of your time. You can literally like and you won't like this is a concept that I think was permeating this video, but I didn't explain very well. You won't be strong. You won't look strong. Meaning you people responding to everybody. Like look at every top influencer. Like no influencers do this, right? Like no, like you don't see a Soda popping or an XQC. He's never responding to every single person. So you don't need to do that to get big. In fact, show me a single influencer that's above like 10,000 concurrent viewers on Twitch that responds to everybody, right? Nobody does that, right? Because the people are there for the macro creation, the content that they're actually building, and not for the personal interaction. And the more that you can build on that macro creation, the better you will be and the more valuable you will be to a greater number of people. Okay? Thanks for watching. See you again soon. Bye.